Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Dorian, and you're listening to Highway to Scale. It's a podcast in which we explore the ins and outs of business success and where we cover topics like validating business ideas, exploring different management styles, building products, launching them on the market, raising capital, and scaling your business. Now, before we get to the main part, please consider subscribing and get in touch with me if you want to be a guest on the show. In today's episode, I'm joined by Andrea, who is the co-founder of Winelivery. It's a company that lives through its tagline of drinks at your doorstep. It's the first Italian platform for on-demand beverage delivery that offers its customers a superior experience and a 360-degree service that includes label selection, assortment management, and delivery. But they're not just the first, they're also one of the fastest, with a 30-minute delivery time to more than 60 Italian cities. And as for Andrea, she is one of Winelivery's co-founders and the company's current PR and press office manager. Her business story is an interesting one, as she started with a degree in physical therapy, followed by 7 years of activity in the field, and ending with 2 years of collaboration with the University of Pavia as a thesis co-supervisor and a master in management. And that's when her Winelivery adventure started. In this podcast, Andrea will tell us about the benefits of crowdfunding a business, what's the current state of the on-demand delivery industry, and why you always need to listen to Pareto if you want to grow your company. So let's cut the intro and let's jump right into the episode to see what Andrea can teach us about building a business. Andrea, it's so great to have you on the podcast.
Hi, Dorian, and really, I'm happy to be here with you. So thank you for inviting me.
No problem. Okay, can you tell me a little bit more about Winelivery as a company? How did you start? What are your goals?
Okay, so we started actually with an idea in 2015. It happened, it was a use case. So we were all at my table for dinner. And At the middle of the dinner, we ended up running out of wine because, when you usually say, okay, come at my place and everybody's asking, what shall I bring? And you say, okay, just bring a booze or a couple. Well, that time they didn't really listen to what I was asking. So anyways, that year was the one where in Italy started to spread all the delivery companies such as Just Eat and let's say Foodora and a few Italian-made delivery companies. So I first thought that, of course, there should be a service that could provide also a bottle in like a super fast time. And what we did was just, Google wine delivery or something like that in Italian, and we figured out there was nothing that could provide us a booze in a fast way. So that was, let's say, the starting point of our idea. What we did was studying all the environment because, I was a physical therapist. So let's say I was the one with the idea, but with a low, let's say, hard skills. But my two co-founders were both consultants in technology and innovation. So once I told them my idea, they went on just checking around the world, and they figured out that the beverage delivery market for the last mile field, let's say, in the US, so abroad, was super grown. There were many companies receiving a lot of fundings in order to grow. So we were like, okay, this is an occasion that we can't really let go. So we started bootstrapping because we didn't have any occasion to let's say raise funds at first. And our first goals were to, on the client side, let's say, provide the service that we really missed that night. So provide boozes in a fast way. But on the business side, we saw this huge opportunity to grow something that could be, let's say, maybe appealing one day for a greater business or a greater company. And So that was it. And well, as you said also in the opening of this interview, what we wanted to offer to our client was a service, the greatest service for anybody who wants to enjoy, let's say, a booze, maybe late in the night or whenever you're tired coming home from work and you just want to pop your wine and don't
Yeah,
mess with the
yeah.
traffic and stuff like that.
Yeah, that is true. Because I saw on your website, you not only provide, as I said, a 30-minute delivery time, but you also have a quite a large catalog of products.
Yes.
That seems like one of the biggest benefits to regular users. Okay, I can get it quick, but I can get practically exactly what I want.
Yeah, of course. Let's say we don't. Okay, talking about the Italian environment, like there are so many labels of wines that if you want to cover everything, you may have the hugest store that you can imagine. So what we did was just checking for the most known labels, the most desired labels. So we kind of find out. Whatever you would like, not the precise label, but maybe one that could be sort of the same one or similar to the one that you would like. So not the precise label, let's say. And yeah, we also added a bunch of different products because we started with wine, and it's, let's say, the prince of our website still also now. But then we wanted to add also the other products because the market asked us to provide them beer with quick delivery and other kind of beverages.
So, can you tell me more about the story of your company? What were some of the main milestones that you've gone through over these last couple of years?
Okay, so let's say what I would define as a milestone, like the first one and the most important, was the business planning, the first one. This is because when you have an idea, when you want to do something for yourself, the most important thing to do is doing something. Just start doing something. So I would say one of the most important thing we did was just starting, putting down a plan and start, going on the street and looking for funding and just put ourselves there into the business, into the thing, not just thinking about what to do or planning. So start doing, basically. This I can say.
That was you and the two of your co-founders. You were the core team during those first steps.
Yeah, the dream team, our first dream team.
So when did you start thinking about, okay, we need to turn this into a legitimate platform, into an e-commerce? What were some of the next steps?
Okay, so basically we started putting down this business plan, and then we had to find out collaborators basically, because our first idea, that was also kind of mistake at first, was to just copy and paste the American model. So we were just a platform where we wanted to match offer and request. So we went in Milan, like walking around and looking for all the restaurants that already had a service delivery, and we asked them if they wanted also to sell their boozes with us. It was a free, with no fees and stuff like that, just in order to be quick and ready to start.
Yeah.
And so this took like at least 3 months of our time, and then of course at the same time we tried to, as I said, do some fundraising, but the main issue in that thing was that we were working in a, I don't know if blue ocean is the right term, but here in Italy, there was nobody that was sending bottles in a super short time. So the, let's say, wine delivery or beverage delivery wasn't a market already developed. Actually, there wasn't for nothing. So we had this big issue in terms of convincing our investors or potential investors that if we would be able to create the platform, the market would come, because the same thing was working abroad. So of course, since in Italy and Europe, generally we're 4 to 5 years behind what happens in the US, technologically talking.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
I was like, okay, it's just something that is gonna come. So there's no market now, but there's gonna be a market. We were quite sure, because we studied few metrics. We were talking about how many people could adopt our app or system, and we found out that just in Milan there were like 200,000 consumption occasion per week of people of age, of course, with a smartphone. And we were talking about 2015. So at that time, okay, many people had a smartphone, but not everybody. So
Yeah.
like all the studies we did for the metrics were based on like a bunch of different metrics, and yet we had a good result. So we're like, okay, there's a potential market. Of course, there's not a market, because if in the world there was no ice cream, of course there couldn't be even the market for ice cream. So same thing.
Yeah. The environment today is completely different from the environment in 2015. Everybody now has a smartphone, an iPhone. Everybody's used to on-demand delivery of everything, basically. In 2015, yeah, not so much. We barely had Ubers and stuff, and let alone something like wine or food delivery. Can you tell me a little bit more about some of the other mistakes that you did as a co-founder? What can we learn from you? Both the good things and some of the bad things.
Well, talking about the bad thing, of course, I would mention my first business plan, since, as I said before, we just copied and paste the business model of what's happening abroad. And
Yeah.
of course, it couldn't work, because America the US are so different from Europe and from Italy especially. So of course that couldn't work. We wanted to do like the easy thing, not caring, not having a store, not having anything to manage despite the platform. So basically, we figured out after 1 month that was the worst decision, because even if we kind of sold something, can you figure out? We opened the service in the 2016, and the first month we delivered like 3 bottles, like in the whole month.
Okay.
That was the worst thing ever. I mean, when I first opened the service, I was so, concerned about not having enough riders to deliver all the bottles. It ended up with us having 3
Not
orders.
enough users,
yeah, not enough users. And then we started questioning why was that happening. Of course, first of all, because we didn't take in consideration all the huge marketing investments that we had to do, because nobody told us, basically.
Yeah.
And so we didn't know how to manage the thing. We were more concerned on we had this nice Facebook page, nice, just not to say something else. And we were like, oh, we did that pasta. We had 2 likes. Wow. Oh, who did it? Was it your mother? No, it wasn't my mother. So who did it? So we were concerned about stupid stuff, and well, not really into the communication at that time. Well, so that was a great mistake. Another one. And well, as for the business model, we had to change it because it was so inconsistent. We went to the market with nice promises. We promised to delivery in 30 minutes at the right consumption temperature, and we promised also to have a nice range of bottles. And nothing of those promises were really kept at that time,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because the delivery was up to our partners. So
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
really didn't take care about the 30-minute stuff or the temperature. Okay, because if you're a restaurant, you have all the bottles in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fridge and stuff like that. But they didn't care about, use a nice bag or just get in time to the client.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Mm-hmm.
it also happened that a store closed and didn't set anything. So we received the order and the client called us, "Where's my order?" So I and Francesco had to jump on the car and go and grab a bottle or something that could be similar to the one that the client ordered and just deliver it ourselves.
Yeah. Oh.
So that was a great
Growing
mistake.
pains. Growing pains. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And then the other thing, as I said, was to put too much effort in things that we thought were important that weren't life changing. So,
Mm-hmm.
as I said, like the Facebook thing, okay, who cares if there are 2 likes or 3 likes or one comment to the post? Nobody. It's just vanity
Yeah. Yeah.
metric. Let's say what matter is
Exactly. Exactly.
the income, basically.
So, when did you started growing your user base? How did it work? Did you get a sales team who would promote you, or a stronger marketing team that would work on it?
Okay, so what we did, when we started growing, as soon as we figured out how to change the business model.
Mm-hmm.
Thing that we did in the first year of life, so 2016. So we changed the whole thing. We started having our own ward. It was a stock of bottles. We were able to decrease the prices to make the service more consistent and stuff like that. And this helped the word of mouth. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
basically, most of our clients came to us just because they were recommended. So that's a nice thing. And on the second side, yeah, we started what now is called the growth hacking technique.
Okay.
We called it the cowboy and nerd approach, because what we did, since there was no case study here in Italy of drink delivery service, we had nothing to study. We tried, as I said, to copy and paste the communication in the US, but as the business model, also the communication, we actually
You
tried
should.
to
Yeah.
copy, yeah, but it didn't work. It just didn't work because you're not talking to the same people. So, well, we started just, shooting like a cowboy. We tried
Mm-hmm.
everything, like every platform, every, let's say, technique, the easy ones, because now I can say we developed this like huge system of communication that puts together many channels. But at first, yeah, we kind of tried everything and figured out what was working. Our let's say one of our fortune is that my two co-founders were consultants, and both
Mm-hmm.
of them
Mm-hmm.
were so focused on data that everything we did, also on the marketing side, was measured. And so they figured out if it was working. So we decided if we could change it or keep on working on that or just dismiss that thing. And this really helped a lot, and made us, somehow collect the first clients, in that way, in the other
Mm-hmm.
way. And the other thing that really helped us was also collaborating with other realities, because
Okay.
2016 was the year that saw a lot of startups birth here in Italy, and all of them were struggling at the same way we were. So we kind of did partnership and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're gonna send an email with a discount for me on your CRM. I'll do the same thing. Just sharing this kind of communication was
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
a
That's
nice
that's a
help.
great approach. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And a turning point, I would say, could be considered in 2017 when we did our first crowdfunding campaign. Because first of all, we had the first real money, because for all the 2016 we bootstrapped. So I mean, also the investments that we could do on the marketing side were so little that,
Yeah.
of course, the results were like even too much compared to the
Mm-hmm.
investments, you know. And so, well, we did this first crowdfunding campaign that was an hazard, because here in Italy, it was like the first year where it was regulated, where all the startups could apply for that kind of fundraising, but also it wasn't really known, so nobody knew if it could work, you know. So
Yeah.
we're like,
Yeah.
okay, just let's try and figure out if it works, and it actually worked. So we wanted to rise, we planned to rise a minimum of five, not 50Ks. And we actually had to give back money because we raised more than 150Ks. That was
Mm-hmm.
the roof, the
The
top
upper
of
limit. Yeah.
the upper limits of the sharing equity that we were putting in. So it was a huge success. So, and that brought us, of course, money, and then fund basis, because once you do
Mm-hmm.
crowdfunding, you're not only raising money, but you're collecting people that love what you're proposing, that
Yeah.
love what
Yeah.
you're doing.
You're building
They
a community.
exactly. So it was the first time we had a lot of people, actually, because in the first round we collected more than 300, let's say 400 people that invested in
Mm-hmm.
us, and they were 400 fun people that went out spreading the word about Winelivery and helped us in many ways, because all of them had their own business, and maybe the one who was producing paperbacks, the other one had let's say a media agency, the other one,
Mm-hmm.
was
Mm-hmm.
a journalist, and of course during the campaign we had a lot of media coverage, because it was one of the first campaigns. We had a great result, so both in the collecting period and in the when we closed the deal, the fundraising, we had a
Mm-hmm.
lot of media coverage, and that was a good thing too, because if I tell you about Winelivery that raised money, maybe you go and look what it is and you say, okay, nice service. And then you maybe
Mm-hmm.
adopt
Mm-hmm.
it and order.
Yeah, it was a perfect storm at that
Yeah.
moment. So after that crowdfunding, you've gone to through your Series A, and you raised somewhere around, if I'm not mistaken, around 6 million euros, all in
Yeah.
all.
More or less 7 millions. And those were collected via 3 rounds of crowdfunding and a couple of two, not a couple, but 2 private rounds.
Mm-hmm. So, what kind of investors were you looking for at that stage?
Well,
Was there something specific?
let's say for the first one or the other one.
The second, these private rounds.
Okay, so after the 3 rounds of crowdfunding, where we actually were, yeah, the first one, as I said, were people that fell in love with the idea, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
The second ones, also with the crowdfunding runs, we had a few people coming, not institutional, but private investors that decided to put bigger chips on us.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, in the last rounds, of course, we had to drag all the previous investors, but then we had a few institutionals. We don't have any venture,
Okay. Okay.
but we have a couple of institutional investors. We were looking, of course, for someone in the industry, beverage
Mm-hmm.
industry,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't happen. But still, I mean, all our investors, we have like Jellyfy, that is more into the B2B field, but still technology and innovation. So sort of
Mm-hmm.
our field, not
Yeah. Yeah.
the delivery one, but still the developing one. And well, that's it. And we're not actually opening another round. But well, of course, we're still on the same line. If we're gonna open another round, the investor, the kind of investor we're looking for, are the one that not only put money but maybe also some effort in the business, as maybe could be someone in the field.
Yeah, that's understandable. So, can you tell me what kind of numbers are you pulling on right now? What number of users, what number of orders do you have, let's say, on a monthly basis?
Oh, it's so hard to answer this question. You know why? Because we keep on growing.
Hmm.
We can say we had the fortune to grow by more than 300% year per year.
Wow, that's
And
great.
yeah, we had a growth of 600% on 2020 on the previous year. So we really are growing a lot and on a monthly basis. So I can say a number that won't be actually true. But I can tell you that have more than 1 million app downloaded here in Italy. This
Oh,
means
wow.
that we are over almost at 2% of the whole population here in Italy
Patient.
has our app installed in their phones.
Do you have any plans for spreading to other countries?
Well, we had because our plans were to move the business also in Germany and French, and those plans were made for 2020, and
Hmm.
as you can
And then
clearly
Corona hit.
remind, and then Corona came. So, well, yeah. So basically, our plans were, yeah, to move in Paris in last year, but also Germany. And well, the thing that coronavirus stopped us, made us think about how to spread, let's say, in the
Hmm.
country where we were living, like where we actually were. Um, so let's say, diffuse. Can you say diffuse?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And what we did in last year was to open a lot of cities, new cities. So we went from 2019, where we had something like 20 cities open, to
Hmm.
more than 70. Like now we
More than
have
70
more
now.
than 70 city open. And yeah, the expansion is still in our mind, but we kind of wanted to reallocate it here in Italy. So we studied a new concept that
Hmm.
can allow us also to open in smaller cities, because as you can imagine, we live because of the volumes. So of course, in a big city, it's easy to manage wine delivery because you have a lot of
Of course, yeah.
people and a lot of consumption occasion. And the more the city is small, the more it's hard to find many occasions. Just also because of their attitudes. Many people, like in a small countries, small cities, they have a bunch of wine at home, maybe a private
Yeah, yeah.
cellar and stuff like that. So we were planning to enter also those cities with this combo, with this we call it the wine livery pub. That is
Hmm. Hmm.
basically a wine bar that matches the pouring, so the service at the table with the delivery.
Okay.
So that will
Yeah,
be
it's great.
sustainable, actually.
Very nice. So let's talk a little bit about you as a co-founder. What are you currently focused on the most within Wine Livery?
Actually, my principal role is PR and press office. So
Hmm.
I take care about all the communication with press, media, and stuff like that. And I also collaborate with all the technical word. So I study like new features for the app and the new
Hmm.
functionalities and everything that is up with the app and functional, and new services and stuff like that.
Yeah. So how would you describe the relationship between the three co-founders of your company? Who handles what?
Oh, so Francesco is our CEO. And Giovanni is our CFO. And those are the roles. I previously worked as a CMO, but then we figured out it was enough for the first period, because I mean, we were a small company and we were just growing and stuff like that. But now that we grew, I asked for like a real marketing manager. I mean, my studies weren't in that field, and let's say you should figure out, and also the moment where you have to, step back a little bit. So
Yeah.
we kind of figure out, we found this marketing manager that is super good. So she's working on that. But of course, everything that is institutional, and I'm there. I'm the communicator. I'm that one.
Yeah. So what's the management style in Winelivery? Let's say when it comes to growing your team, what do you find the most important?
Okay, what I can look on that side is that we used to prize, of course, commitment, because as a startup, we didn't need people with, like, let's say, super hard skills but not committed. That came just for the money, and that's it. So we were looking for people, that wanted the glory. They wanted to be part of something that grew. Other things, we prized more soft skills than hard skills, because a hard skill is something that you can learn. Soft skills, you'll have them, and that's it. And so I can define our company as a company that has a fluid approach. What I mean that if you come in Winelivery and you start working with us, of course you have your KPIs every month and stuff like that, but also a constant evaluation, because if it happens you to be super good in something, let's say in commercial, but you're working in another field, it's easy to be moved on another role, because we figured out that you were good in that. So why should you stay in your previous job? So let's change and do something else. So this fluidity gave us also the opportunity to, let's say, to how do you say, spoil? No, not spoil. To use all the best skills of all the people in the team, and of course also to not easily, but say goodbye in a nice way, when people didn't achieve what they were meant to, or just weren't, the guy or the girl that we needed.
I understand. Yeah, it's great, because a lot of your employees then have a constant way of growing as a professional within the company.
Yeah.
You're not fixed to one specific position that you started in or you applied for.
Yeah, exactly. And it's better to dare and ask for forgiveness than ask for permission in our company. So we always say, okay, just do something. At least you'll have to ask sorry, but ask for forgiveness. But please don't you come and ask for permission. Just do it. If you think it's fine, just try it. And that's a good approach, I think.
That's a great mindset, because when the situation is not like that, then the higher ups, let's say from the management, you always have to say, okay, you can do this. No, you can't do that. You can do this. And people don't have a way to grow, to learn something new. This way, they can experiment constantly.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe they come up with an idea that none of us in the management had. So it's a super good opportunity to, reach new goals.
That's great. So let's talk a little bit more about the delivery industry. Delivery industry in 2020 is a lot more different than what it was in 2016. Can you tell me more about its current state?
So talking about the delivery itself, I'd say it's so cushy to receive everything at home. So once you're spoiled with like receiving whatever, how could you go back?
Yeah.
So I think that delivery is going, we found the street, and we're following the right path, and it will be growing and growing. As you said, there are popping up delivery services from a side to another to of the country and all the fields that you can imagine.
Yeah.
Actually, in Italy, we saw the birth of the delivery in 2014 slash 15 with all the food delivery services. So those business, the more and more rooted in our lives. This means that, of course, the perspective is super good for all the delivery that are let's say coming and boring now. But talking about our field, so the drink delivery is not so. I mean, it's not so easy. There are a few competitors now. A couple of wine e-commerce try to build their new service, adding the last mile delivery, but they kind of didn't make it because we are working in this field since like 2016, as I said. So we are very deep rooted, let's say. So if you think about ordering a bottle, Winelivery is what comes up in your mind usually. And talking about what the companies that tried to start their business before, let's say wine delivery is the most invented company, I think, everywhere, like the alcohol delivery. Because can you think about being a student at the university, and you're like having a party with your friends, and you're like, oh wow, could you think that if beer could come like in 30 minutes, like a fresh one? I mean, everybody thinks about creating that kind of company. The thing is that they should figure out the way to keep it working, because margins are not really, really high. So you have to match in your business model a bunch of way to earn money. Like now, Winelivery is, of course, a delivery. That is the reason why it's so known. But we also define ourselves a media, because since we are the only app through which in more than 70 cities you can buy alcoholic beverages and have them delivered so fast. There are all the companies, the beverage companies, the wine producers and stuff like that they ask us for placing their products in the app. And so we're earning also on that field together with the media side. So I don't know if I said it before, but we kind of define us also a media company now, because on our app, since it's native, we have all the developers working on that. We can also communicate with our clients, like not in a rough way, in a super smooth way. But if you're my client and you used to buy beer, let's say, or a specific kind of wine, we collected all the data and blah, blah, blah. So we can propose you few products or just make communication in order to make you try a new product. So that I can do cross-selling and upselling according to the, let's say, to the companies that works with us. So I can just make you buy another type of beer that you never tried just because I have this, let's say, this communication thing with our partners. And I mean, it's super great. And this is the reason why I think we are the only one that survived in these years.
Yeah, those are two great pillars. You have the data and you have the partnerships with the big players. So any new brand that wishes to start a business similar to yours, it really is not a fair playing field for them. we can say, because they have to go through all of the things you've gone through the last couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. But when you're studying like economy and you do the nice SWOT square.
Yeah.
Okay, we are the big thread down there.
I think that also one of the benefits of your company is, and one of the reasons why you're so successful is this specialization. You are dealing only with beverages. Can you tell me a little bit more about some of the benefits that you see directly because of that approach?
Well, as I said, I think one of the main advantage we have is that we are top of mind. Also, thanks to all the marketing and communication activities that we did. Um, so we are appealing on both sides, as I said. So on the B2B side, so the companies, they want to be, I mean, we've been defined the place to be for beverage. So the
Yeah, they want
companies,
to partner with you.
yeah, they want to partner with us. And on the other side, as I said, we're top of mind. So it's easy to, I mean, once you're also the only player, because we're, yeah, I would dare to say we still are the only player that does the service. It's a good thing. But on the other hand, I wouldn't really suggest to start a business in a vertical field other than food, beverage, and legal weed, legal marijuana,
Yeah.
because all the other ones are such a niche that, I mean, everybody has to eat, everybody has to drink something,
To
and
drink, yeah.
many people want also to have so little fun. So, well, and those are the kinds of things that you can, yeah, focus on. But I would never suggest anybody to open a delivery of, let's say, I'm looking around, the tables or chairs. Why should you? I mean, why? How can you earn money with delivering, like doing a fast delivery of jam? It's not
Yeah.
something that could really happen, because
It's extremely niche, yeah.
yeah, you know what, there are such a huge amount of omni delivery now. It's talking about Glovo, the new entrants here, Gorillas, but Amazon that does the delivery the day after
Yeah.
or stuff like that. So I mean, it will be a great idea to put yourself into a super specific field, or a vertical in the delivery field now.
Can you tell me, do you see Amazon as a competitor to Winelivery? I mean, because they can basically deliver everything.
True, but well, we define ourselves a great service before then a wine delivery company or an e-commerce. And Amazon is an e-commerce. So of course, if you want the best price, or a larger, huger amount of different labels, you go on Amazon or on Tannic or the other e-commerce. But I mean, they can't be seen as a competitor because they don't have the same service. If you buy on
Yeah.
Winelivery, it's because you want to have your wine at the right temperature. You want it almost now, and you don't want to take care about, waiting for the delivery guy. When you order on an e-commerce, if you are not smart working, it could happen that they just come and knock and leave the box out of your house, or they just go away and you will never know when they come back. So it's not really comfortable. So yeah, we can't really define those kind of players as our competitors. We can define them comparables. Of course, they sell the same product, but not with the same service.
Yeah, the user experience aspect of your company is much, much higher than, let's say, Amazon's within that
Yeah, of
niche.
course.
Okay, we're almost at the end. So can you tell me what would be your advice for new startup owners who are just looking to launch their businesses?
This is such a nice question. I would love to go back in the years and ask this question myself and to my co-founders. I would answer with two things. First of all, study the market's request, your market, but also the abroad market. don't think to be the inventor of anything, because basically everything had been invented somewhere
already, yeah.
and that's a good thing, because you can watch around and just copy and make something even better, because maybe there's the same as we did. There's the same thing in the United States, and so you copy it and you let's say you upgrade it and adequate it to your market. And
yeah.
Always remember our friend Pareto, because because many times we focus on stuff that are useless, while really the 20% of your efforts can make you reach the 80% of the results. So just keep Pareto in mind.
Andrea, what can we expect from wine delivery in the next few years, let's say?
Wow.
What are your plans?
Wow, our plans are like, it depends on coronavirus, of course. No, okay.
Okay, but let's say there is no more corona.
Okay.
Everything is fixed.
Of course, further territorial expansion is something that we aim to do. We're planning, as I said, to expand the service in all Italy, also in the small towns, with a new concept store. And yeah, well, why not try again to give a look abroad? Well, basically those
Germany
ones.
And France.
Yeah, Paris, that could be a great place to be, because they're a sort of competitor there, like the only one here in Europe that actually made it. The way we made it. And Munich was the other city that we were planning to open, just because it's so close to us, and also the mindset is super, let's say, similar to ours, so it could work.
Okay, great. Andrea, I want to thank you for joining me on this podcast, for sharing the story of Winelivery, and of course, sharing all of these insights for building a successful business.
Thank you for inviting me. Really, I'm so happy to talk about us, and good luck for anybody that wants to start a new startup.
And we are done. If you stuck with us until the end, here are a few key takeaways from this episode that I want you to remember. Number 1. Crowdfunding can be a great way of kickstarting your business, because it doesn't just provide you with funding, but also with an initial set of users, customers, and clients who are very likely to recommend your services or products to others. Number 2. Never underestimate the power of a good business plan. When you're just starting out your company, you might have the urge to just half-ass the thing and be done with it, but that will bite you in the long run. Creating a structured and a well-rounded business plan will not just guide your company forward, but it will also help you avoid a lot of mistakes and pitfalls. And number 3, always keep Pareto's 80-20 principle in your mind. Focus your attention on what matters the most for your business and your users, instead of spreading your efforts on anything and everything. Now, before you sign off, don't forget to subscribe so you get notified when we publish new episodes. And leave us a review if you enjoyed this podcast and learned something new. It'll be highly appreciated. Also, if you want to be a guest on the show, shoot me an email or hit me up on LinkedIn. My contact info is down in the description. And that's it. I'm Dorian, you've been listening to Highway to Scale, and I'll see you all in the next episode.